Most guys drop $1,500 to $2,000 on an AR-15, not because they actually need that kind of performance, but because they let marketing, forum hype, and fear make the decision for them. They buy into the myth that a bigger price tag guarantees survival. Here's the cold, hard truth the gun industry won't tell you. Price does not predict survival. Design does. The more expensive a firearm gets, the tighter the tolerances become, the more intricate the moving parts are, and the more white glove maintenance it demands. On a clean range, it's a masterpiece. But out in the real world, where dust, mud, and a lack of lube come into play, those hair-thin tolerances become your biggest point of failure. I run projects at a custom shop outside Fort Worth. 20 years behind this bench has taught me one undeniable fact. The guns that range snobs biff at and call cheap junk are usually the most ruthless, unbreakable tools on the market. They aren't pretty, they aren't fancy, but they are simple, and simple doesn't break. Today we're talking about 5 dirt-cheap guns sitting in the bargain bin that will outlast firearms costing 5 or 6 times as much. The filter for this list is dead simple and completely merciless. When your wallet is empty, your hands are covered in dirt, the gun hasn't seen oil in a year, and nobody is coming to help. Will it go bang when you pull the trigger? No brand loyalty, no points for looks, just pure survival. And the number one pick on this list is going to make a lot of self-proclaimed experts genuinely angry because it completely shatters a rule the gun community treats like sacred scripture. Something shifted in the market over the last 2 years that nobody saw coming. The Heritage Rough Rider went from a gun show novelty to the single best-selling revolver in America by unit volume. That did not happen by accident. Heritage Manufacturing, now owned by Taurus, has been stamping these single-action .22s out of their Florida facility since 1992. The design is a scaled-down single-action Army clone, 6-shot cylinder, manual hammercock, transfer bar safety. It is about as mechanically complex as a door hinge. The barrel is micro-threaded and pressed into the frame. Cylinder lockup is surprisingly tight for a gun at this price. You get a 4.75-inch or 6.5-inch barrel depending on the model, fixed-blade front sight, and cocobolo or synthetic grips. Overall weight sits around 33 ounces with the longer barrel, which soaks up what little recoil a .22 long rifle produces. Where it earns its spot on this list is the round count. I have seen Rough Riders come through the shop with thousands of rounds through them. Bulk Federal, Remington Thunderbolts, the cheapest garbage .22 you can buy at Walmart, and the gun just keeps cycling. The single-action mechanism has almost nothing to go wrong. There is no double-action spring to wear, no slide to rack. You cock, you point, you fire. That is it. Where it fails the filter is defensive capability. This is a .22 long rifle. Muzzle velocity sits around 1,060 feet per second out of that barrel. It is not a self-defense tool. It is not a fight stopper. If your life depends on one gun and one gun only, this is not the answer. Street price right now hovers between $119 and $159, depending on barrel length and whether you get the combo with a .22 Magnum cylinder. That is less than a tank of gas in some states. For what it is, a training tool, a kit gun, a plinker that will run until your grandchildren inherit it, nothing else touches it at this price. That is not opinion. That is just math. If you need one gun for the farm, one gun for the truck, one gun you hand to your kid and say, learn on this, the Stevens 301 is the answer nobody argues with. Savage Arms revived the Stevens name in 1999, and the 301 carries forward a lineage that goes back over 100 years of American single-shot shotguns. It is a break-action, one-round-at-a-time shotgun available in 12-gauge, 20-gauge, and 410 bore. The 12-gauge model runs a 26-inch carbon steel barrel with a 3-inch chamber. It takes windchoke-compatible tubes, ships with a modified choke installed, and weighs about 5.5 pounds. The action is about as complicated as a mailbox. You push the release, the barrel drops, you load one shell, snap it shut, thumb the hammer block safety off, and fire. Eject. Repeat. There are maybe 6 moving parts in the entire mechanism. I have seen break-action shotguns from the 1940s still running perfectly because there is almost nothing in them to wear out. Here is what the filter catches that the spec sheet hides. 1 round. That is your capacity. In a defensive scenario, you get 1 shot and then you are reloading. Against a coyote on the back 40 at 3 a.m., that is usually enough. Against anything more complicated, you are going to wish you had a magazine tube. MSRP sits at $173. Street price runs between $140 and $180, depending on gauge and configuration. You can buy 2 of these for the price of 1 decent pump gun. The 301 will never jam. It cannot short stroke. It cannot double feed. It cannot fail to go into battery, because the entire operating system is your 2 hands and a hinge. That kind of simplicity does not go out of style. I had one of these on the bench about 4 months ago. A customer brought it in, said the trigger felt gritty. I opened it up, cleaned out the factory grease, which was packed in there like axle paste, oiled the internals, and handed it back. He called me a week later and said it was like a different gun. That is the M206 in a nutshell. It works out of the box. It works better with 10 minutes of attention. Rock Island Armory, the firearms division of Armscore, based in the Philippines, has been making budget revolvers and 1911s for decades. The M206 is their snub-nose entry, a 2-inch barrel, 6-shot, 38 special double-action revolver. All steel construction, transfer bar safety, fixed sights. It ships with 2 sets of grips, wood and rubber. Weight comes in at 24 ounces unloaded. For the specs, you get a 2.15-inch barrel, pinned to the frame. The cylinder release is smooth with no binding. The ejector star works clean. The trigger in double action is heavy, probably 11 to 12 pounds, but consistent. Single action breaks cleaner than you would expect at this price. What it does well is everything a snub-nose revolver needs to do. Fits in a jacket pocket. Fires 6 rounds of 38 special without complaint. Locks up tight, ejects spent brass cleanly, and because it is an all-steel gun, it absorbs recoil better than the aluminum-framed competitors at twice the price. Run it through the test, and the sights are the problem. Fixed, all black, no contrast whatsoever. In low light, you are pointing more than aiming. The finish is parkerized and functional, but it will never win a beauty contest. And the factory grease situation is real. Clean this gun before you shoot it. Street price is around $230 to $260. That is roughly half what you would pay for a comparable Smith & Wesson J-frame or Ruger LCR. For a dedicated nightstand revolver or a deep concealment backup, the M206 gives you 6 rounds of 38 instead of 5, all steel durability, and a century-old operating system that does not need batteries, does not need a magazine, and does not care if you forgot to rack a slide. It is the ugliest handgun in production. I am saying that out loud. The Hi-Point C9 looks like it was designed by someone who had a handgun described to them over the phone. The slide is a solid block of zinc alloy that weighs more than some compact revolvers. The grip angle is strange, the trigger is mushy, the sights are basic. Everything about holding this pistol tells your brain that something is wrong, and then you shoot it, and it goes bang, and you shoot it again, and it goes bang, and you dump 200 rounds of the cheapest 9mm you can find through it on a Saturday afternoon, and it goes bang every single time. That is not marketing. That is the record. Hi-Point has been making these in Mansfield, Ohio since the early 1990s. The C9 is a straight blowback, single-stack 9mm pistol. 8-round magazine, 3.5-inch barrel, weighs 29 ounces empty, which is heavy for its size, but that mass is what makes the blowback system work without a locked breech. The internals are deliberately over-engineered for durability. The firing pin is robust. The recoil spring is heavy. The feed ramp is polished from the factory. Hi-Point's own torture tests and independent tests by channels like Demolition Ranch and others have shown these guns surviving being frozen in ice, dropped from buildings, buried in mud, and run over by trucks. The gun still fires. Here is the crack in it against our yardstick. Ergonomics are genuinely bad. The trigger pull is long and heavy. Disassembly requires a punch and some patience. The single-stack magazine means 8 rounds total, and accuracy past 15 yards is serviceable, not impressive. This is a combat-accurate pistol at self-defense distances, not a target gun. Street price sits between $150 and $200 new. High Point also offers a lifetime, no-questions-asked warranty that transfers to any owner. You do not even need a receipt. Send it in broken, they fix it or replace it, and send it back. I will never call this gun pretty, but I have watched one survive things that would kill a gun costing 6 times as much. At $150 for a reliable centerfire pistol with a lifetime warranty, the math does not lie. This is where the arguments start, and I know some of you wanted the M206 or the Stevens up here. I respect that, but the numbers disagree, and the numbers are what I trust. The Maverick 88 is the #1 pick because it passes every part of the filter with no asterisks. Reliability, affordability, availability of parts, proven track record measured in decades, not years. Maverick Arms is a corporate affiliate of Mossberg. The 88 has been in production since 1988, assembled in Eagle Pass, Texas, with some components from Mexico to keep costs down. It is, in every mechanical way that matters, a Mossberg 500. Same action bars, same elevator, same barrel threading, same lockup. The only differences are a crossbolt safety instead of the tang safety and a slightly rougher finish. The internals are identical. The security model gives you an 18.5-inch cylinder bore barrel, 5+1 capacity and 12 gauge with 2 3/4-inch shells, a 3-inch chamber that accepts magnum loads, dual extractors, twin action bars that prevent binding, and positive steel-to-steel lockups. Overall length is 38.5 inches. Weight sits at about 7 pounds. That twin action bar system is the reason this gun cannot jam the way a single bar pump can. You cannot short stroke it into a bind. The anti-jam elevator prevents double feeds. These are not premium features. They are standard on every Maverick 88 that leaves the factory. I have had 2 Maverick 88s on my bench in the last year. One belonged to a ranch hand who said he had been running it for 14 years without a single malfunction. The action was loose, the finish was worn to bare metal in spots, and the synthetic stock had a crack in it. I asked him how many rounds. He said he stopped counting after 4,000. I replaced the stock, oiled the action bars, and sent him home. The gun did not need anything else. TFB-TV ran a 500-round torture test on a Maverick 88, and it completed the test without a single failure. Not a failure to feed, not a failure to eject, not a failure to fire. 500 rounds of mixed buckshot, birdshot, and slugs through a $250 shotgun, and it ran every one of them. Every Mossberg 500 accessory fits the Maverick 88. Barrels, stocks, forends, magazine tube extensions, side saddles, heat shields. The entire aftermarket ecosystem is available to you at no compatibility penalty. That means your $250 shotgun can grow with you from home defense to bird hunting to slug gun to turkey setup just by swapping barrels. Street price runs between $220 and $300 depending on configuration. The combo package with both an 18.5-inch security barrel and a 28-inch field barrel often runs under $280. That is 2 guns for the price of one. Spec, history, price. It wins all 3. And I will tell you something personal. If I lost every gun I owned tomorrow and had to start over with 1 firearm and $300, I would walk into the nearest gun shop and buy a Maverick 88 before the door closed behind me. Training beats gear every single time. The most important tool you own sits between your ears. Any one of these 5 guns will do its job, but only if you know how to run it. If I could only keep 3 off this whole list, it would be the Maverick 88 for the house, the Island M206 for the nightstand drawer, and the Heritage Rough Rider for training new shooters on fundamentals without breaking the bank on ammo. Buy proven, not hyped. Every gun on this list has a track record measured in years, not marketing campaigns. That means something. Your turn. If you could only keep 1 gun off this list, just 1, forever, which one is it? Drop it in the comments. I already know the M206 and the High Point are going to start a war down there, and the comment scraps are half the fun. Next video, we are ranking the 5 most overpriced guns in production right now. The ones that charge you a premium for a logo and give you nothing extra for it. That one is going to start even bigger fights. Shoot straight, buy proven. I'll see you at the counter.